let's talk about X-Men 97. So we have a couple of things to talk about with X-Men 97. And that is going to be um about when it comes out and some other things that we learned about it. Now, this is a rumor so far. As you know, animation does take a while, but it looks like we have a date as or at least a rough estimate on when to expect X-Men 97. And it says here it's set to premiere in 2026. Yikes. So we have a year and some change to wait for season 2 of X-Men 97. Ugh. When I tell you X-Men 97 was such a breath of fresh air. It was so nice. It was so welcoming. I mean, we had a good time talking about it, but my goodness, they treating it like Marvel. What do you listen? Can you pay these people overtime? Like pay them. I know y'all don't want to pay all the time. I know y'all don't want to listen. This would be a great time to just be like, hey, you know what? This is worth the investment. Pay these people, hire extra crew, do it. Come on now. Stop dragging your feet. But keep in mind, this is probably also due to the changes that they had to do. Remember, they hired another writer because Bo DeMayo had his whole drama. And while he had his drama, um, it's more than likely that they had the new writer not only writing season 3, but probably rewrite season 2. And speaking of Bo DeMayo, we've got some claims by him. He has dropped some information about season 2, and it says here, according to him, season 2 is only going to have 9 episodes. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say season 1 had 10, so it looks like it's only going to have 9 episodes. So not only is it going to be late, but it's also going to come up short. And this might come as a bit of a blow to some of y'all. Bo DeMayo says that Marvel Studios scrapped his idea to introduce Onslaught in season 2 of X-Men 97. The Age of Apocalypse storyline was also going to be featured in the upcoming season. So, while we were all sitting here like, here we go, we had a whole freaking like episode or two of Magneto and Xavier going at it mentally and all this stuff, and they minds breaking. We almost had Onslaught. We almost had the Age of Apocalypse. We almost, but no. Bo was like, yeah, they not doing that no more. That's not happening no more. So it looks like X-Men 97 is going to be something very different. And this was my concern. We talked about this. This was my concern. I thought season 2 would be okay because Bo wrote that whole script, even though he wasn't involved. They don't really need him there. Like, they could still do most of it without him. But without him there, and because of all the back and forth, and now they're going through this litigation and legal stuff, it looks like season 2 is going to be something completely different. I am concerned. I am concerned that season 2 is not going to have the same flavor that Bo DeMayo would have given it. I am concerned that we're not going to get the same energy that we got before. I'll just be honest. I feel like X-Men 97 is going to be whitewashed. I feel like it's going to be whitewashed. I don't know. I don't know. It is definitely something concerning because I liked the trajectory that it was on before, but I don't know. We'll see. But I want to touch on one more thing with X-Men 97. If you guys recall, I made a little video not too long ago, and some people were kind of coming at me for it, some weren't, whatever. But it was about that whole cameo of T'Chaka. Now, I have obviously been pro T'Challa. And yes, we know what happened with Chadwick, which was terrible and unfortunate. But one of the main reasons that I talked about recasting T'Challa was that I don't want the portrayal of the character to end. What does that mean? If you don't want to do them in live action because you guys are emotional and you're feeling a certain way, I understand. Take a break, pause it. That's fine. But the portrayal of a character means in other mediums as well. So that means even in the animation side, the comic book side, etc., those should continue. And it seemed as though Marvel was slowly but surely moving away from T'Challa. Hear me clearly. I'm not talking about Black Panther. I'm talking about T'Challa. So when we got to X-Men 97, we saw T'Chaka on screen rather than T'Challa. Now, the reason why that was so strange, and again, you can go back to my video, there was a lot of mixing up of stuff going on. In the old X-Men animated series, Larry Houston, the original director and producer, he had T'Challa in that universe, the same universe that X-Men 97 is a continuation of. It's not a different timeline, it's a continuation of the old animated series. So I'm like, yo, you meant to always have T'Challa in the old stuff. You're continuing the old stuff, but now we saw T'Chaka, his dad, showing up instead. Now, some people was like, well, the T'Challa that we saw was actually from a different timeline with the Fantastic Four and all that. But I was like, that ain't adding up. That's not adding up because the Fantastic Four that Morph transformed into was in the same timeline that T'Challa was in. So I'm just saying somebody messed up trying to cover stuff up. Clearly. But Bo was asked about this. Bo DeMeo, who was the showrunner, was asked about this. And prior to this, Jake Castorena, he was actually asked about this before. He was the director, the supervising director, which I've interviewed him before. He was asked about the whole, like, why do y'all have T'Chaka instead of T'Challa? And he was like, I don't know. That was something that the higher ups decided. Who were the higher ups at that time? The showrunner and probably Brad Winderbaum and maybe Kevin Feige. So those are the people that were above the director, Jake Castorena. And he was like, man, that was a decision the higher ups made. Okay, cool. So Bo DeMeo was asked here, can you tell us why Black Panther was T'Chaka and not T'Challa? So Bo ended up saying, I don't know why Marvel had certain directors. It feels like he got beef with Jake. He said, I don't know why Marvel had certain directors saying to spin and lie about this, but we produced X-Men 97 season 1 in early 2021. The loss of Boseman weighed heavily on the studio as well as on me as a black man. Felt too soon to do T'Challa, put humanity before continuity. So I get it. But at the same time, unless Chadwick was voicing this version of T'Challa, which I don't think he was, what are you talking about? Like the animated stuff was already in its own lane. We had all these reports talking about how X-Men 97 was not a part of the 616. It was not a part of, whatever was going on in the MCU. It was its own little pocket universe, its own alternate timeline. And I totally hear you about respecting Chadwick and all that, but Chadwick is not T'Challa. T'Challa is not Chadwick. And I say that extremely respectfully. Chadwick is more than just one character he portrayed. T'Challa is bigger than just one actor that's portrayed them. They're both big in their own right. And again, I understand the sensitivities, but it's like, yo, like I don't think anybody would have been like, oh my gosh, look at the disrespect that that T'Challa is portrayed here. Not to mention, yes, while you were making this in 2021, you knew this thing was not going to come out like the next day. It was going to take some time. So anyway, I don't like the constant the conflating of all this stuff because it's a ripple effect that can go both ways. If you keep tying Chadwick Boseman to T'Challa, and if you have this mindset that everything T'Challa therefore needs to stop, that to me is problematic. That is very, very problematic. Um, But he also said something else here. He said, listen, as I said at the time, it didn't feel right. Just a matter of respect. If it were today, I think the choice would may be different. Either way, trying to spin it into something other than what it was, makes no sense to me. All right. So, in other words, as I've kind of predicted years ago, people were going to get over this and people were going to realize shelving this character probably was never going to be a good idea. Yes, we needed our time to mourn. Yes, we needed our time to process. Absolutely. But moving forward with fictional characters, it's okay. It is okay. So I'm glad to hear that at least, I don't know, in hindsight, he would have done something different. But now we know that it was supposed to be T'Challa. So all those people that was arguing with me on that whole video or whatever, y'all were wrong. It was supposed to be T'Challa, but he changed it because of Chadwick's death, and now we know the real answer. So, you know, emotion. What can you say? Anyway, guys, what do you think about these X-Men 97 updates? We're getting it a year and a half, some change later. No more Onslaught. Thought we was gonna get Onslaught, not happening. And yeah, it was supposed to be T'Challa there, but they changed it to T'Chaka. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. This was just a segment of one of my live chats, and if you're interested in joining in on the next one, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.